Welcome to PodSpace. In this video, we will demonstrate how simple it is to deploy and manage applications in Docker containers on our platform. Let's sign in to the web console. Provide an email address, a password, and hit sign in. This is the project listing page. In PodSpace, we organize our applications in projects, which allows for better separation of concerns and access control. So to get started, let's create a new project by clicking on the New Project button. Give it a name and a description so that everybody working on this project knows what it is about. Okay, now that our project is created, we can start adding applications to it. Let's start by deploying a MySQL server, which is available in the PodSpace application catalog. So all I have to do is to choose the exact flavor of the database I want from the available templates. Now I have some parameters that I can specify about my database. The service name allows other applications to find this database service. The username, password, and database name fields are pretty self-explanatory. Applications will have to use these parameters to access the database. The overview panel is a really cool place for getting a general perspective about how your application is working. Good! As you can see, PodSpace already started deploying the MySQL pod. But you may be wondering, what are these pods? They are basically Docker containers with some additional parameters and capabilities. Now that we have a database server deployed, let's put it to some real use. Why don't we deploy a WordPress-based blog engine in another pod and set it up to use our MySQL server as a backend? For this, I want to use the official WordPress image from the Docker Hub, so in order to do that, I'll just select the Deploy Image tab and enter WordPress in the search box. And PodSpace will find it for me. The official WordPress image can be configured by defining various environment variables. Let's add some environment variables to make it use our previously deployed MySQL as the database server. I'll have to specify the database server hostname, which will simply be the service name that I have defined when deploying MySQL. Similarly, I'll specify the username, password, name of the remote database. Now we can see that the WordPress application has been successfully deployed. Since our WordPress and MySQL pods belong together, let's make a group of them so they will appear side by side in the overview page. As you can see, I have some nice graphs here showing the overall resource usage history of my applications. But how do we access our application after we deploy it? My application is not accessible from the public internet by default, and in order to do that, I have to create a root. Here I have the option to specify my own domain name if I have one, and I also can set various other options. But for now, let's just keep everything on default and just click Create Root. Once we created it, we can access our application by clicking on its hostname, and here we go! We have successfully deployed the WordPress application with a MySQL database. Here you could continue and start setting up WordPress as usual, just as if it were running on your own server. But I'm not going to do that. Let's see some more cool features of PodSpace instead. So let's switch back to the web console. We can set up PodSpace to monitor the health of our containers and intervene in case of any problems. Let's add a health check for our WordPress container. To do this, I'm adding a liveness probe which will continuously monitor my application by sending HTTP requests to the specified path. I will specify 10 seconds as an initial delay and also a 10-second timeout to make sure our application won't be considered unhealthy by mistake. And I save it. Let's break our application to see that in action. Let's open a terminal inside the pod running the WordPress container. Here, I can see the various PHP files belonging to the WordPress installation. So let's see what happens if I just remove the index.php file. Okay, let's switch to the applications page. Oops, now my application is not working properly anymore.
Now, if anything goes wrong with my application and it stops responding to HTTP requests, the container will be automatically restarted because I have the health check.
So let's go back and see what happens. So my container just got restarted. Let's check if it is working now by switching to the application page again. And it does! PodSpace healed my application automatically. Right now, all I'm running is a single copy of both of the WordPress and MySQL components of my application. But what if suddenly I have so many viewers of my blog that the WordPress container starts to become overwhelmed by requests? It's easy. All I have to do is click on this arrow and now I instantly have another WordPress container serving my viewers. All the heavy lifting, that is, setting up load balancing, handling sticky sessions, and everything else is being done automatically by PodSpace.
I could even set it up to handle scaling up and down automatically based on the traffic that my applications are having at the moment.
This video was just an introduction to the most basic features of PodSpace, but there are many more. See our other videos about building your own Docker-based applications or defining delivery pipelines.
Subscribe to PodSpace now, and you can recreate what you have seen right away. You will find detailed tutorials covering this and many more features in the documentation section of the website. Don't forget, the future starts today. So subscribe now and deploy your applications in a container-based cloud-native environment.